Hello, you beautiful apricorns. Just thought I'd do something a little bit different this week and for the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to take you through memory lane of my childhood. And I'm actually going to, because I'm 30, I'm an old man, I know. And I shouldn't be playing video games at this age. Yeah, right. I thought I'd actually go back each decade in my life. So from age 10, age 20 to age 30. And actually just think back and have a little look through all of my favourite games up until that age. So going through like the different consoles, the different generations of video games. It's going to be quite a fun little trip down memory lane. So it's going to be off script apart from the games. I've got them written down here. So if you see me looking down going, what's this? That's obviously because I'm trying to look at the games. Because my memory isn't as it used to be. But I think it'll be quite fun to look through. So we're going to start with age 10. So this week will only be through age 10, and next week will be age 20, and the following week from age 30. So what that means is that I'm going to go through all my favourite games from the consoles that I owned, or maybe there's games that I managed to rent, or consoles that I played over at a friend's house, and the kind of games that really stuck with me for each of those consoles. So it could be, I was born in 91, obviously, and I would have played some of older games later on in my life, so it's not like I would have just completely got rid of any game that was from 91 onwards and only played the newest ones. That wasn't the case. I did not always have access to the newest consoles when they first were released, so there's not going to be any PlayStation 2 games, because even though it came out while I was 10, I did not have the money at the time, at 10 years old, to be able to buy a PlayStation 2. But what I did have was a Sega Mega Drive, a Sony PlayStation, a Super Nintendo, a PC, well, sort of, and actually for a brief period, access to a Sega Dreamcast. I didn't have a Nintendo 64. So a friend of mine had it, and we borrowed it, and I played Super Mario 64, but honestly, at the time, it didn't really gel with me, so I just forgot about it and didn't really think about it. We did play GoldenEye, but it was only me and my brother, so we didn't really have that fun 4-player, everyone played together, excitement on the same screen. We didn't get that. So, there's my little cop-out, I guess, that I'm sorry. And also, no one had like Legend of Zelda on like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. They might not have even been out. Probably would have been actually, 99 maybe. But yeah, no one owned those, so didn't get a chance to play those games. Anyway, let's start with the Sega Mega Drive, or the Sega Genesis. Straight away, I've got to say, Streets of Rage 1, 2 and 3. By far my favourite beat-em-up franchise of all time, and is still, to this day, my go-to beat-em-up games. It's great that Streets of Rage 4 is out now, but I still find myself going back and playing 2 and 3 more often than I do 4. But I love those games. Playing them on the hardest difficulty with my brother, one of us dying, and then trying to soldier on was brilliant. And also the first time we played together and got to that ending, and you had to decide if you were going to be a good guy or a bad guy. And me being the idiot, I was like, yeah, I'll be cool, I'll be the bad guy. So then I decided to fight my brother, and he had more lives left than I did, so he clearly won. And he was older than me by like 6 years, so that always kind of helped him in that respect. Sonic games? Yeah, okay. We played them enough, but not too much. We weren't like massive Sonic fans or die-hard Sonic fans. Did enjoy them. I think I enjoyed the music more so than the games themselves. I never really... I completed 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles. Completed all of them, but it wasn't one of those where it's like, okay, I'm going to complete them tens of times. Like, it was pretty much once I'd complete them, that's it. I was just one and done for each of those. But from memory, Sonic 2 was always seemed to be my preferred of those 3 games, and Knuckles. Kid Chameleon was another mainstay. For some reason, my nan had a Mega Drive, and she always had Kid Chameleon. So that was just another one we played. Sensible Soccer was another one. Me and my brother both really liked football at the time. Brother still does. Me less so. I've always enjoyed playing football as opposed to watching it. But Sensible Soccer was a good laugh. Another one was Micro Machines as well. That was one which I tend to play more on my own and just try and go as far as possible as I can, win as many races in like one go, and go from there. But the big one, the big Mega Drive game, for some reason, was Columns. It was that game which me, my brother, my dad, my mum, we used to just play. We used to have a competition to see who could last the longest, like head-to-head tournament style. It was just brilliant, and we were just playing it to the dead of night. Again, this was one of those consoles that my nan had, and I didn't really like our nan that much. She, at the time, it was, she just wanted to stay in the front room. We were like, we'll go to the other room then, we'll play on the Mega Drive, but she wasn't really interested. So we just kind of, poor nan, she got shoved off in the front room. She was enjoying herself, and we were enjoying ourselves more playing Columns of all things. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed that. Okay, next we have the Game Boy. Why not? We'll go with the Game Boy for the Super Nintendo. There wasn't too many games. It wasn't a massive thing for me. I mean, I had like 4 Game Boys. One of them was German because my uncle, he was in the army at the time, was over in Germany, based there, and he got me a German Game Boy. It's exactly the same, just had a different serial number on the back. But the big ones. Super Mario Land, the first one. Not 6 golden coins, we got that. That was more later on actually that I first played that for some reason. But I remember playing Super Mario Land while my mum, she worked at the laundrette, the laundromat, or whatever you want to call it. She used to work there, and my days off or weekends, sometimes she would work there on a Saturday. I would go over there, just say hi. Super Mario Land. There's me playing that. Oh yeah. Listen to the radio in the background, occasionally chat with my mum. Super Mario Land. Played that and completed that so many times. But the big ones, of course, the Pokemon games. I owned Blue, Pokemon Blue. I owned Pokemon Yellow, and I owned Pokemon Gold. And Pokemon Yellow was the first game in which I had collected them all, apart from you. But I collected the 150 because amongst all 3 games, I could obviously transfer them over, and I managed to get 150 Pokemon. It's great. It's great. For me, it was great for me. And for some reason, and I don't know why, but Flareon was the first Pokemon I ever got to level 100. I wasn't even a big Flareon fan. If anything, I liked Jolteon much more than Flareon, even at the time. But I think it was just a lack of, Growlithe. I wasn't a big Charizard fan, sorry. And that was it, so I just had a Flareon, because I really wanted a Fire-type, because Fire-type was my favourite back then. Now it's Dark-type. But yeah, Fire-type was my favourite, and I just didn't really have a Fire-type which I really liked. I wasn't a big fan of Vulpix for some reason. Well, sorry, I lie. I was a big fan of Vulpix, but not Ninetales. Don't know why. Ninetales is a great Pokemon, and one that I really like now and try to use as much as possible to probably make up for the time I didn't use Ninetales when I was younger. But yeah, that's my Game Boy adventure. Now we're on to the Super Nintendo. I don't know why I broke it down like that, but Super Nintendo. Of course, Super Mario All-Stars. That was it. As soon as we got Super Mario All-Stars with the upgraded graphics for 1, 2, 3 and Lost Levels, that was the Mario game for me, and is my favourite Mario game, technically, because it's all in one cartridge, right? So that counts as just being one game. Super Mario 3 is my favourite Mario game, but that version in particular, specifically that version. But yeah, Super Mario All-Stars, awesome. Completed all of them except 2. I just didn't want to complete 2 for some reason. Spoilers, it turns out it was all a dream anyway, but I'm pretty sure I said that in the intro. But yeah, I completed 1, completed Lost Levels, and completed 3. 3 I completed countless times. I think actually I completed Lost Levels more than 1 as well, weirdly. But yeah, probably because it said Lost Levels, like, oh wow, secret. So I just have more of a sway to play that one a bit more. But yeah, that's far and away my most played Mario game, or Mario game. Even more than Super Mario or Super Mario World. I don't know, I grew up saying Mario, what can I say? It's Mario, I know. But yeah, Super Mario World or Super Mario World is my second favourite of the Mario games. But Super Mario 3, easily my favourite. Another platform game which kind of blew our minds when we first played it and saw it was Donkey Kong Country. Now it looks terrible. It looks really pixelated, of course it does, but at the time it was unbelievable that these kind of graphics could come on this small cartridge on this tiny little grey box and looked somewhat realistic. I know, it's shocking, but yeah, it did, and it just was amazing that you could control this. The controls are a bit stiff now when you play it, but it was just unbelievable to see that. And that was more so, it wasn't a great platform game, but it was one that just stood out. It was a more eye-catching platform game, and you just wanted to play it. I definitely know that myself and my brother took quite a while to complete that, but we did it anyway. It was good fun at the time. Now I've tried to go back and play it, and I'm not really a big fan of it, but it's probably more the spectacle of like the whole thing when we were younger to see it. Another game which I love and still love to this day, and recently came out on Steam, or somewhat recently came out on Steam, was Zombies, or Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Probably my most played Super Nintendo game, bar the next one which I'm about to mention, but probably is my favourite Super Nintendo game. Just the difficulty of it all, staying up at night playing it when I wasn't supposed to be because I didn't want to use the password system because you started with just a water pistol. Me and my brother racing to see who could complete it on their own as well, even though we completed it together. It was just so much fun. I wish there were more of it. School Patrol doesn't count, but yeah, I wish there was more of it. And there was actually a fan sequel, I believe, as well, which came out 2 years ago, maybe? Maybe it was only a year ago. It's all kind of blended in together. But yeah, that was fun as well. I definitely played that too. I can't remember if I did a video on it or not. Maybe I thought about it. But yeah, that's fun. Now, that other game, which was quite possibly the most played, was Killer Instinct. Awesome game. I was a Glacius main. I don't know why. I wasn't really fascinated with ice. He was slow. Normally I go for the faster characters, but Glacius was my pick all the time. Ironically, my brother's pick used to be Cinder, and then he was like, oh, you got Glacius, who's, you know, ice. Well, okay, we'll go Spinal instead. And yeah, back forward X, or back forward X, I think it was, for Orchid. Yeah, I'm sure those of you which played Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo know what I'm talking about. But that blew our minds when we figured that one out. I think it was my brother went to school and one of his friends told him, and then he was like, oh, what's this? And then we were like, what? What's just happened? But yeah, that was brilliant. And finally, to top off the Super Nintendo games was, of course, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That was the one which we had. We played Hyper Fighting as well, but that was rented copy that we played. But yeah, we owned Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It was great fun. Obviously, Street Fighter. It's still fun to this day. Still quite smooth. Just having that faster movement speed as well. Just top notch. As you know, come on, it's Street Fighter 2. Now, we move on to the big boy console for me around this age. And yeah, definitely my most played console in that time frame, or that age frame, that first decade of my life, and of course is the Sony PlayStation. Now, it's a weird one. It's a very weird one because there's some games now which I look at and go, I can't believe I played them. They're just really not what I would play now, and I don't even understand back then why I played them, because it just seemed so out of character for me. And the first game that I think of straight away is Future Cop LAPD. I was never a fan of mechs. I was not a big fan of robots, and yet I just love this game. It's probably, I haven't played it since, I'll be honest with you, but it was probably super clunky right now, but I was just always playing it. Always. I don't understand why. It wasn't even the full game. It wasn't even the full game. It was a demo. And I just really enjoyed playing that demo. And then eventually I rented it and competed for a few levels. There were other games I was playing at the time. But took it back. It was fine. I enjoyed my time with it. But then I just kept playing the demo. I don't get it. Honestly don't get it. But it was fun. It was fun. Another game was Grand Theft Auto. It was, I never completed it. Same for Grand Theft Auto 2 and Grand Theft Auto London. I'm the monkey and you're the cheese grater. Do what I say or I'll give you a slap. I'm pretty sure was one of the lines from GTA London. But yeah, it never completed any of those, but it's one of those where you just play for a few hours and you're like, oh, that was good fun. Forget about it, come back and you're like, oh, what was I doing? Oh, let's just start again. And then you just repeat that cycle. But really enjoyed those 3 games. WWF SmackDown 2 specifically. We owned both SmackDown 1 and SmackDown 2. But SmackDown 2 was around the time I used to play over at a friend's as well. And he had some PlayStation games which I didn't have and vice versa. But we used to just play SmackDown 2. That was it. There was quite a few of us. We just got together and was like, yeah, okay, SmackDown. We already know what we're doing. Straight into it. Was a big wrestling fan back then. Not so much now. And by not so much, I mean not at all now. But really enjoyed the games. And even after I stopped watching wrestling, I actually still played some of the games. Like SmackDown vs. Raw and what is it? SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and all those. Raw on the Xbox. I enjoyed playing those. Not like to the drastic extent as I did back then, but yeah, now don't play them at all. It's just weird. It's just weird, really, how yeah, the taste just completely changed. Just whatever, just switched me off. Wasn't even that wrestling was fake. I just stopped watching it. Another game we've played with the family was Worms. I mean, you had to play Worms if you owned a PlayStation, right? So yeah, it's normally just me, my brother, and my dad. We tend to play a lot more games together. Mum wasn't really too interested because we were better than her, so that probably didn't help in that respect. But yeah, Worms was always good fun. Having that Super Sheep and the Holy Hand Grenade. Classic fun. Another classic game for us was Cyber Tiger. Can't tell you what the courses were. They're probably the normal ones like Bay Hill, Sawgrass, all those ones. But the big thing we remember playing, or I remember playing for us, was on the driving range where you hit the little golf carts, the trolley that's collecting the balls up. You just hit that, and I think if you hit it 3 times it exploded. I could be making that up, but I'm pretty sure that was it. Another fun but weird game was Dead Ball Zone. I was going to say Dead Ball Zone 2, but I'm pretty sure only one was made. It's probably because I was thinking of Speedball as well. But Dead Ball Zone was the one of those which we played a lot more of. It was just stupid fun. You just throw a ball into the goal or just take a chainsaw to someone. You know, as you do. No different to Rocket League these days, right? There was a lot of different fighting games that we played. Funny enough, I didn't really play that many Street Fighter games. I don't think we had Alpha at any point. I remember getting Street Fighter Alpha later on, which we'll talk about that in the next video. But definitely Tekken 1, 2 and 3. 2 I played a lot more than the others. 3 I loved the beat 'em up mode and was probably what mechanically was my favourite one, but 2 was the one I played the most out of. Don't really know why, because you would have thought it'd be free, but 2 just stuck with me. Then we had Mortal Kombat Trilogy as well. Used to play that a lot. I preferred Tekken. I preferred Street Fighter. I mean, actually, that's probably why we didn't own one on the PlayStation, was because we kept playing the Super Nintendo Street Fighter 2. That would explain it. But yeah, Mortal Kombat Trilogy was fun. I was a Striker main. Don't know why. I think it's because I was like, oh, I want to be a cop like John McClane in Die Hard Trilogy, another game which I played so much of. But yeah, I don't know why I was a Striker main. Probably because I didn't really like Johnny Cage, and you know, I tried to pick someone who resembles me the most, and I'm not a robot or a ninja. My brother was always Super Street Fighter. My brother was always Sub-Zero, so that was another thing. I was like, well, I can't be Scorpion. It looks too much like Sub-Zero. I don't want to be like my brother, because you know, you had to rebel at that age, didn't you? So that's probably why I went with Striker. Stupid choice. Should have been Scorpion, really. And then we'll move on to some of the more traditional ones, which I think we all played on the PlayStation, which was your Tomb Raider. Unbelievable when that came out. I remember going to Ross Records, which was the local video game shop or DVD shop, similar to CEX now, and they had for like decades a life-size model of Lara Croft with her guns and her guns. Yeah, so it was just crazy. They were so spherical, it was just unbelievable. The guns were normal, and she had the cool shades on as well. Shades, listen to me. Sunglasses on, that was really good. Metal Gear Solid teaching me that video games don't just have to be about shooting and gameplay. They can tell a pretty darn good story too. That's when I started to take it a bit more seriously. And let's see. Oh, Silent Hill. How can I forget Silent Hill? Oh, yeah, that was another one. It was we got that. We rented that. We never owned it. We rented that, and I remember being stuck on the piano puzzle, and I was like, "Oh, going to school. Let's just talk to some of the friends about it." And there was just one of my friends, Shane, who's same name as my brother, told me how to complete the piano puzzle because he had read it in a magazine, and he was playing it as well with his older brother. Funnily enough, at the time. So we got to bond on that even more. We were close anyway. We'd known each other for like many, many years, even at that point. We went to nursery and then obviously got older and older. Same school. But yeah, that was just so funny how he was the only one that just happened to be playing Silent Hill at the time. And he had just seen it in his magazine and was playing Silent Hill at the same time with his older brother too. So that was a good laugh. And of course, the Resident Evil series 1, 2, and 3. I have this. You do, Barry. You do have this. And even to this day, me and my brother quote the terrible lines of the first Resident Evil to each other because they just stuck with us for that many years. Brilliant. Now we're going to move on to the other category that I have. So, like I said, I did have a PC, did have a Dreamcast. And there are some other games which they still may fit in the other console genres, but I didn't own them. One of which was Final Fantasy X. So I didn't see any adverts, any trailers, nothing like that for it. And I just went to another friend of mine, friend James, and he had a PS2, he had a PlayStation 2 at the time, and he just put this game in. I didn't know what it was. I was like, what? So you're not like actually attacking, you're just pressing the button and then just having a fight. And I remember it being in Macalania Temple that he was fighting Seymour at the time. And I was like, that looks really cool. You mean you could just summon lightning and fire or just hit them with that weird bubble sword? And it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. This is like the 10th one. I went, what do you mean it's the 10th one? How have I never seen this game before? And that was it. It's like, okay, I've got to try and play this. Didn't obviously come out on the PlayStation, the original one, the one that I own. And from some weird stroke of luck, I chatted to my friends who we used to play SmackDown together, the same one I mentioned earlier, and he had a copy of Final Fantasy VIII. I never knew that. Even though all the times we've been playing, we've swapped games so many times, he just had Final Fantasy VIII. And I was like, do you mind if I borrow that? My favourite Final Fantasy game ever, by the way, is Final Fantasy VIII. I know, you'll hate me for it, absolutely. It's a terrible choice, but I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours playing that game. And it was his copy, and he didn't mind. He went, no, that's fine. I think I got to disc 3, and then I managed to buy the game myself. I saved up or probably swapped some other games at the time, and then went, there you go, there's your copy back. Now here's my copy, I'm going to go finish the game. So yeah, that was really cool. The fact that it just so happens that, stroke of luck, never heard of this series before, friend had one, and then as I was playing it, I managed to go find one down the street, so that was awesome. But yeah, Final Fantasy VIII, borrowed from a friend and then finished with my own copy. Good old games back in the day, huh? Then we have the big one, the Xbox. Halo. Never owned the Xbox. Well, that's a lie. Not at the time. Didn't own the Xbox. But friend had it. Michael. He was a few more blocks we had. There was me here, block 1, should we say. James was block 2, and Michael was block 5 down the end, right at the end of the road. I was at the start of the road, he was at the end of the road. And yeah, we played that. Great fun. Great fun. How could it not be? It's the first real shooting game, proper shooting game that I played. Didn't play Doom or Duke Nukem, anything like that. Like I said, briefly played GoldenEye. But yeah, that was the first proper story game that we played. Proper shooter game, and it was co-op. Awesome. Shame Halo Infinite isn't co-op, huh? Not as of this recording anyway. Maybe in the future it'll finally be patched in. But yeah, that was just amazing to play. And then we'll move on to the PC. Unreal Tournament. Never owned it, but there was a community centre that had a bunch of computers all just lined up for people to just play and use. And there was 2 hours in a day, which you could just go in there and just go. It's completely free. And if the computers were free, it was all linked up on LAN, all that kind of stuff. And we had Unreal Tournament, which was amazing, and Medal of Honor Allied Assault. So much fun just playing against each other. There was like a good 8 of us at most. I don't think it ever went more than that playing at one time. But yeah, it was really good fun. So good. Just going around, jumping around, rocket jumping, killing yourself with the rockets because you didn't do it right until you learn it. And yeah, just so good. Just doing it. That was like the only real time I had any PC shooting experience until much later in my life. But yeah, it was a good start, good taste there. And then to end with, on the PC section, we had Age of Empires, but that's not a surprise. Everyone played Age of Empires, of course, but also Premier Manager 98. Probably, well, it's up there, I think, for the most played PC game for me, other than like Counter-Strike, which we'll get onto again later. Might even be more, to be honest, might even be more than Counter-Strike, because I played it super early, like Windows 98. Then I played it later on, again, like Windows 2003, Windows XP, Vista, Windows 7, Windows 10. That game just carried on with me forever and ever and ever. So I've played it so many times. Even on this brand new laptop, it is there and I've played it. So yeah, that game has just stuck with me for decades, literal decades. It's crazy. And then we'll move on to the last console, which I very briefly had, because when we got it, it just did not have the games to warrant keeping it. And that was, of course, the Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure. Everyone loves Sonic Adventure. And everyone loves Sonic Adventure, the Chows, specifically, because that was it. You only ever played to build up the Chows, which was great fun. You had to get like little gems or whatever it was, like some tubes, and that would upgrade their abilities. And that meant you had to keep playing levels over and over again. So what did you do? You played the levels you liked over and over again, not all the bad levels. But yeah, so that was definitely one that I played for ages and ages and ages, just for the Chows, really. The cute little Chows. And then Power Stain. There's been so many fighting games, but yeah, Power Stain. Me, my dad, my brother, and one AI fighting against each other. So much fun. And I wish it was back, ready to play, which it may soon be on the Switch. You never know. There's been talks about it, but yeah, I'd love it. Love to be able to play that again properly without using the magic of Parsec and emulators. But it's still fun either way. But a proper one would be great. So there we go. That is me. That is me from age 10 and younger. The games that I played, so from like 2001. Or pre-2001 as well. I'd love to know what you played. What were like your main games that you played as well? But yeah, this is going to be a long video. I'll try and separate it into sections as well, and consoles and stuff. But yeah, what a journey. What a journey. And then next week, I'll be doing it all over again, because I'm going to make a nice little list, look back at all the games that I played from when I was age 20 and then to like 11. So between that bracket, could have done 11 to 20. But, I've been talking for a long time. So, yeah, basically it'd be from games from, like, 2011 to 2002, I suppose. Yeah, 2001, that's how far back we'll go. But, yeah, I hope you look forward to it. I hope you don't mind me drowning out your ear holes with my voice and talking for ages and ages. But, yeah, it was just, it was good fun for me to look back on some of the games that came out and gone, oh, yeah, I really did enjoy playing that. That was so much fun. But, yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye for now.